The 24-25 season has officially drawn to a close, and it's been an interesting one. I went from a EuroLeague AP to a freelancer halfway through, which was a bit of an adjustment, but I'm glad to say it was an amazing end to the season with projects on the EuroLeague, Super League Basketball, and even Birmingham Panthers Netball. So let's have a quick look back on how my 4th season in basketball media wrapped up. Hello and welcome back. It feels good to be back. It feels good to be able to sit down and talk to you about everything that's been going on recently. 3 months ago, I was 3 months into being a first-time freelancer in the world of sports media. Things had started off pretty well, but I knew there was still a lot for me to learn and to experience. Little did I know, I was in for a very busy end to the season, and I'm super grateful for that because I've come to realize as a freelancer that nothing is guaranteed. Which, after I wrote that, I realized kind of applies to life in general, not to get too deep. But it's funny that it takes freelancing to realise that. So, as it's been a while since my last post, as always, I thought I'd take you back through some of my favourite projects from the end of March right through to the end of June and into July. Let's start at the end of March. It was the Academy Finals, which I hadn't filmed for about 2 or 3 years. And I remember the first time I did it, it was a really important event in terms of my growth as a videographer. Once again, I used it as an opportunity to test out some editing and grading techniques, but I also wanted to try and play around with the structure of the edit. If anyone saw my SLB Cup Finals highlight videos for the men and the women, I started the video with the end of the game into the trophy lift and then went back to the start of the game so that by the time it got to that point at the end of the game again, the video looped around. I wasn't really sure if it worked that well, and it certainly didn't add anything to the overall engagement. So for the Academy Finals, I thought, why don't I once again start with the end of the game, but then go back to the start and then see it all the way through to the end so that it's not looping. But you do start with arguably the more interesting part, which is the team winning and the trophy lift. I feel like that kind of structure works more for social content. If you're doing an actual overall wrap-up of a tournament or a game, then you may just follow the usual structure of starting with warm-ups, going to jump ball right through to the end of the game and show the winners. If I had to pick a favourite, I'd probably say I like the ENBL one the best. I thought there were some nice shots in there, and it just kind of worked nicely. But overall, not too bad. So throughout March and April, I worked with IMG's EuroLeague digital team on game highlights, as well as the end of season awards videos for the EuroCup. Of course, this is a team I used to work with full time, so it's great to be able to work with them again on these projects. And coming back as a freelancer, you kind of see things in a different way and have a different perspective on things. It's also nice to work on something like the end of season awards videos, which is intended for social media and broadcast, because you kind of have to approach it differently. Or maybe not approach it differently, but there's other things to consider. Again, if I had to pick my favourite of those edits, I'd probably say the second team. The all EuroCup second team was pretty cool. And that was a combination of the plays, the music, and Tahir's awesome comms.
Brown's going to go again, no! Oh my goodness, Anthony Brown!
Moving on, and my next project involved a sport that I hadn't filmed before. Back in February, I approached the newly established Birmingham Panthers netball team about doing some video work during the season, and so I was brought on board to cover their next gen and NSL teams. I'll definitely do a full video about covering netball, because as somebody who knows basketball through and through, it's a bit weird watching it for the first time. And I think it's more different to basketball than people realise. And so that really changes the way you have to look at it from a videography perspective. But honestly, I had a great time filming the team. I mean, that was really special. You just had this packed out arena. They win their first game of the season, and it's at home. It's awesome when you get moments like that. By this point, we're well into the postseason, and it was around this time at the end of April that I headed off to Paris to shoot Game 3 of the EuroLeague playoff series between Paris and Fenerbahce. Once again, I was working with my old team, which was really nice, but there's also a nice story behind this. When I was a EuroLeague AP, I was fortunate enough to have visited pretty much every single EuroLeague city apart from Paris. And so it was really nice to be able to work again with the team and to be able to go to Paris, watch such a huge game for the club, and see Fenerbahce close it out in 3. Eventually, our Final Four teams were decided, and so I headed off to Athens to help produce the Final Four media days for Olympiakos and Panathinaikos. Now, this sounds like a fun time, and it was to a degree. Unfortunately, one of our camera ops bags didn't make it to the airport. So we were scrambling around the next morning trying to find any rental houses in Athens to get all the lighting, all the audio equipment and the power cables, and thankfully someone came to our aid. I have to give them a shout out. DK Rental House completely saved us. They had everything we needed, and we were able to get everything done for both teams over the 2 days, and everything in the end worked out. Not a situation I ever want to find myself in again though, please. And so the only thing left was, of course, the EuroLeague Final Four. Now I have to say, initially when I went freelance, I genuinely didn't think I would ever go to another EuroLeague Final Four. At least not for a very long time. So just to be there in Abu Dhabi, witnessing the 25th Final Four of the EuroLeague modern era, and seeing all these amazing players there, seeing Fenerbahce win, all of that was incredible. I was fortunate to work with some really great people, and as a freelancer, I couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. And lastly, coming up very soon, in fact, I had the chance to work on my first documentary as a freelancer with Jamie Thomas from SLB. He discussed with me earlier in the season doing a documentary on the Newcastle Eagles, who at the time had just made the European North Basketball League Final Four. Now, I absolutely love storytelling, and I'd always wanted to do a documentary on something to do with British basketball, so I really felt like I poured all my creative energy into this, and I'm really excited for people to see it. I'm really happy with how it came out, and so far the feedback has been really good, so look out for it coming out on July 14th. So we'll leave it there for now. I think there's a few other projects I could have mentioned, but I feel like these were the ones that maybe had a bit more context around them. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got to film my siblings at the national finals. The first time ever I got to film Ethan and Sarah at their respective finals, and it was incredible. It was amazing to see them on such a big stage and play so well. So yeah, that should have been first, really. Do feel free to subscribe, as I have more content on the way that I'll try to get out before things get busy again. Also, I really appreciate the support with these videos so far, so thank you. And yeah, it's been an amazing 6 months of freelancing. Take care, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.